Jumping a bicycle isn't one of the most essential skills to learn, but fundamentally it is something that everyone wants to learn. What we're going to do is break it down into a few simple steps so you can learn this yourself at home. Firstly, you need to find a suitable jump. Okay? One of the easiest ways to learn how to jump correctly is by finding a tabletop jump, such as this. Okay, what a tabletop is a transition with a flat top and another transition on the other side. This will enable you to learn the feeling of the bike wanting to get airborne, but you still got the safety of just being able to land on the top, and then you've got a landing ramp. You can progress to jumping the whole thing as one. Okay, and then the next step, which we'll cover later on, is moving up to a double jump, which is essentially the same as a tabletop, just with the middle carved out because you don't need it, because all you're using is the takeoff and the landing. And then we might look at a few other variants that you can do, you know, from then on. The next thing you need to do is obviously have the right bike and the right gear for the job. Okay, if you're using a cross-country bike, then you're going to need to put your saddle down out of the way. You're going to need to get yourself a good strong helmet, need some gloves in case you fall off. You're going to need some basic padding, like at the very least some sort of knee pads. For out and out dirt jumping, then ultimately you're going to want a hardtail, probably something single speed so there's less chance of damaging stuff. But in this example I'm using my downhill bike. Probably not the best thing to go out jumping in the woods, but it's as good as any just to learn on. As with anything, you should sort of look before you leap. Luckily in the case of a tabletop you can roll it first, so I'm just going to have a little roll over it to see how it feels so I can make the shape. Okay? Okay, the next stage is to go a little bit faster and allow the bike to have some lift. Take off like this naturally will kick the bike off the ground. You'll see by my body positioning, I'm just letting the bike go, using my weight fore and aft just to keep it nice and level. I should land probably about here and I'll slowly go down the landing ramp. Okay, so you've got your basic running sorted. You've got the shape of the jump, you're comfy, you can see where the takeoff is, you can see where the flat is, you can see where the landing is. You've allowed yourself to take the next step, which is just to jump up onto the top. But now you've got to commit and actually jump the whole tabletop. Okay, it's pretty much a do or die kind of effect. Okay, you're not going to know until you've done it the first time if you've done it correctly or not. But when you're in the air, essentially this is what you can see. You can see the transition in front of you here. Ideally, you want to be aiming for your front wheel just to meet with the top of the downslope here. You want to aim so your front wheel meets with the top of the transition about here in an ideal world. The effect that this has is that your bike has completed the arc. Imagine, they call it a tabletop because it's literally like a hill with a bit sliced off the top. So all you're doing is making the arc that the hill naturally would have had. So you want to keep that as smooth as possible and let the bike flow into the transition. This will take time, you can't expect to be able to do it straight away. So there's a few little things you're going to have to watch out for on the way. Firstly, you're going to hang up, which means your back wheel doesn't make it into the transition. So in order to avoid the dreaded hang up and to get into the landing smoothly, what you ideally want to do is just imagine your shape in the air. Much like a bunny hop, you take off, push your arms forward, this extends the bike out. Okay, and then you want to start getting your weight over the front end a bit so you can push the nose into the landing. You can learn the basics on a tabletop, but you really have to make sure you have them dialed before you try anything with a hole in it, like a double jump. When you're riding a double jump for the first time, it literally is a case of rolling up to it a few times to gauge your speed, which you should be able to guesstimate quite well from having learnt on tabletops, and then literally committing and jumping it. On a jump like this, it's not a particularly big jump and it's on its own. What you may like to do is gauge it by going a little bit too fast and over jumping it slightly. What you don't want to do is to hang up. If you hang your back wheel on a double jump, you could hurt your ankles, or it could simply just send you over the bars. Okay, so you've seen the basic double jump now. Just a question of mastering it. Just like the tabletop, you can never ride them too much. keep riding, you know, and maybe add a bit of styling here and there. It just comes with practice. Basically, one day it will just click. Again, it's good to go riding with people that are better than yourself, because you pick up tips and pick up stuff better. Also pushes them on, because as you get closer to them, they've got to make the next step. Other jumps that are applicable to the same technique are stuff like step ups or step downs. The sort of thing you might see in downhill races or downhill freeride courses, stuff like that. We're just going to have a look at a pretty basic step up in a second. Same technique, you know, you've got to have a good clear run in, assess your takeoff, assess your landing, and then commit and hit the thing. Let's go and have a look. Okay, what you have here, you've got a nice fast run in, slight left hand turn. It's got a couple of little compressions on it, so you need to keep your weight on the bike, applying traction rules to keep grip. Come flying through this little chute here. Nice little compression here. And you pop off this takeoff. And this takes you up onto the top of here, known as a step up jump. Literally, it's just a matter of jumping off a takeoff and up onto an obstacle. As I said before, jumping's not the sort of thing that's going to come, well, A, it's not going to come naturally, and B, you're going to have to go your own way. All you can do is watch other people do it, study the videos, rewind, slow motion, keep doing that, and then practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's all it is.